Okay, we're going to look at writing equations that are parallel or perpendicular to other equations. We're still going to be using point-slope form because we're going to be dealing with a point that it has to go through, and then we're going to have to find the slope by using the equation that they give us, and we have to know if if it's parallel, we need to know what parallel means, and if it's perpendicular, we need to know what perpendicular means. So first, looking over to the left, parallel slopes are the same slope. So whenever we have something that is parallel to an equation, we're going to find the slope in that equation, and we're going to use the exact same slope. Then perpendicular is the opposite reciprocal slope. Now, if you look down below that, you'll see what opposite reciprocal means. If we start off with the slope of negative 4 over 5 in the equation that we have, the perpendicular slope, opposite means to change the sign. So you'll notice it started off as a negative 4 over 5. The slope that we're going to use is in red, and it's positive. So that's what opposite means. Reciprocal means that we're going to take the fraction and we're going to flip it. So instead of having 4 over 5, it's going to be 5 over 4. So the opposite reciprocal would take a negative 4 over 5 and change it to 5 over 4. Below that, we have just a slope of 5. And opposite would mean that it would have to be a negative. And then 5 is technically 5 over 1. And so if we were to flip 5 over 1, it would become 1 over 5. So the opposite reciprocal of 5 would be a negative 1 over 5. So we're going to use that information and come over to our problem, write an equation going through negative 4, 3, and parallel to y equals negative 5x plus 3. And we have our x1 and y1. And then our slope is parallel to this equation. And so all we really care about in that whole equation, all we care about is that negative 5. And if it's parallel, then we're going to use the exact same slope. So my m is going to be negative 5 as well. So we can now plug this into our point slope form, and we'll go y minus y1 is 3 is equal to m, and remember our slope is parallel, so we're going to use that negative 5 there, parentheses, and then x minus, and x1 is negative 4. Minus a negative turns into plus a positive, so we have one of those. And then we need to get y by itself, and the first thing we would need to do is to do our distributive property. And so that gives us y minus 3 is equal to negative 5x minus 20. And then finish up by getting y by itself. So we add 3 to both sides. And y is equal to negative 5x minus 17. And you can notice that our slope is the same as the slope up here, which is what is required in order for it to be parallel. The slopes have to be the same. Okay, moving on to our next problem. We have write an equation going through negative 2, 3, and perpendicular to y equals 2 over 5x minus 4. Now, this one is perpendicular. So this goes with opposite reciprocal. So my new slope, an upside down t means perpendicular. My new slope is going to be negative because it has to be opposite, and the 2 over 5 was positive. And then perpendicular means to take that 2 over 5 and flip it, and it now becomes 5 over 2. So my new slope that I'm going to be using is negative 5 over 2. This is, the negative 2 is still my x1, the 3 is still my y1, and we're going to plug this in and go y minus, and then y1 is 3 is equal to m, and my m is going to be my perpendicular m, so it's going to be negative 5 over 2 parentheses x minus, and then x1 is negative 2. All right, so in our class, we do not like to do fractions. So we're going to get rid of the denominator, which is the 2, the bottom number, by multiplying by 2 to every term. Now, we never multiply to anything inside of parentheses, so we will not touch what's inside the parentheses. But we will multiply by 2 to the 3 and to the y. Also, I did forget that minus the negative is plus positive, so I should have taken care of that first. All right, so now that eliminates these 2's, and we're left with 2y minus 6 is equal to, and I'm left with negative 5 parentheses x plus 2, and we're going to go ahead and distribute this negative 5 to both of those and get negative 5x minus 10. Okay, once you do that, now we just got to get y by itself. So we're going to add 6 to both sides. Those cancel out, and we have 2y is equal to negative 5x minus 4. We will divide everything by 2 so we can get y by itself. Those cancel out, and we have y is equal to a negative 5 over 2x, and then negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. Once again, you can see that my slope is going to be perpendicular to the slope that was originally given to us, which is what we wanted to do. We wanted to write an equation that was perpendicular, and we have now done that.